Welcome to the J-Spot, the place where we stimulate the most sensitive parts of your brain.
And today is Tuesday, March 3, 2026, which means we are jumping into a deep dive of an event that happened exactly 113 years ago today, a day that really changed the optics of American protest forever.
Right, so let's set the scene for you. Picture Washington, D.C. on March 3, 1913. It's the day before Woodrow Wilson's inauguration, but the real earthquake is happening over on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yeah, you have Inez Milholland on this huge white horse.
Literally leading thousands of women.
Thousands. In the women's suffrage procession.
It was designed to be this massive, unified spectacle demanding the vote. Yeah. But if you dig into the source material, that unity was, well, it was incredibly fragile underneath.
Oh, absolutely. Because the organizers, Nasa and Alice Paul, they were terrified of offending Southern white suffragists.
They needed a federal amendment.
Right.
Which meant they needed those Southern politicians.
Exactly. So the directive comes down that black women, including the members of the Alpha Suffrage Club, are told they have to march in a segregated section at the back.
Which is just the classic political trade-off. You sacrifice a specific group to advance the quote-unquote main cause.
The whole, we want your numbers, but we don't really want to see you mentality.
Exactly. But they completely miscalculated who they were trying to silence. And this is where Ida B. Wells Barnett enters the chat.
Because she had traveled to D.C. with the Illinois delegation, and when she's told to segregate, she doesn't just argue, she flat out says, I shall not march at all unless I can march under the Illinois banner.
And then she just seemingly complies and vanishes.
Which is the brilliant part of her strategy.
It is. It's a massive tactical maneuver. She skips the rehearsal, lets the organizers think they won, and just waits in the crowd.
And then as the Illinois delegation passes by, she steps right out from the sidewalk.
Flanked by two white allies, Belle Squire and Virginia Brooks.
Yep, and marches front and center. She physically integrated the parade, and the organizers were just powerless to stop it.
She just refused to be pushed to the back of the bus of the movement.
And it wasn't just her. The sources note that other black leaders like Mary Church Terrell and the founders of Delta Sigma Theta also marched, defying that white women only optic.
It's a deeply cinematic moment, but let's pivot to why we're breaking this down today. It's a perfect case study for the tension between equality and equity.
We use those words interchangeably a lot, but 1913 shows the stark difference. The sources define equality simply as sameness, giving everyone the exact same thing.
So to the organizers, letting black women march at all, even in the back, was equality. Because they were technically included in the event.
Technically, yes. But equity is defined as fairness and justice. It requires acknowledging different historical starting points and barriers.
Like acknowledging the double burden of racism and sexism that black women carried.
Exactly. Equity would have meant refusing to sideline them just to appease segregationists. Equality is giving everyone a shoe, but equity is realizing not everyone has feet.
Or realizing that some people are standing in a hole that society dug for them. Which brings us to intersectionality.
Right, the framework Kimberly Crenshaw coined in 1989.
Applying it retrospectively to 1913, you clearly see how black women were marginalized by white feminists through racism and by black men through sexism.
Creating this completely unique form of oppression where their specific needs were just ignored by both sides.
And the sources show how that mechanism is still running today. You draw a direct line from 1913 to the modern Say Her Name campaigns.
Oh, definitely. When we discuss police violence, the default narrative so often centers on black men, inadvertently making black women victims invisible.
It's a total failure of intersectional thinking.
We see it in health equity data, too. If a hospital offers equal access, meaning the doors are open to everyone, that sounds great. But if they ignore that a demographic faces systemic bias or lacks transportation due to poverty, they aren't achieving health equity.
It's the difference between opening the building and making sure everyone can actually get through the front door.
Equity requires differential resource distribution to actually achieve fair outcomes. That's the key takeaway here. Ida B. Wells refused to accept a version of equality that required her invisibility.
So we want you to really consider this for yourself. When you look at your own community, where are we accepting back-the-bus solutions just to keep the peace?
Are you striving for sameness, or are you willing to disrupt the status quo to achieve actual fairness?
Because true equity often means you have to step off the sidewalk and disrupt the parade.
It really does.
The J-Spots is a Jay Briar Allen production, edited by Jay Rivera, Danielle Reyes, and Josette Garcia.